which finally, after 14 years, justice is served in the 2009 Shopian case in which the security forces were falsely implicated and charged for rape and murder of two young girls. The CBI had found that the charges leveled against the security forces were untrue and the girls died due to drowning. Sending a powerful message, Jammu and Kashmir government has terminated the services of the two doctors, Dr. Bilal Ahmed Dalal and Dr. Nigat Shaheen Chillo. They were, remember, found guilty of manipulating the post-mortem report of the girls to wrongly implicate the security forces. Now, after the incident, Pakistan and its proxies with nefarious intentions saw an opportunity to exploit this tragedy for their own gain. And that's the reason why all of this was allowed to happen. According to sources, the NC government was aware of the truth but chose to bury it, allowing Kashmir to descend into chaos. The valley witnessed, remember, 6 weeks of violence and unrest in 2009 after the bodies of the two women, Asiya and Neelofar, were recovered. The incident in Shopian, in fact, sparked a chain reaction leading to 42 strike calls by groups like the Hurriyat. Amid the unrest, about 600 law and other incidents were also reported from across Jammu and Kashmir, and about 7 civilians were killed in the violence. Over 100 of them sustained injuries as well. Following the CBI investigation, Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha sacked Dr. Bilal Ahmed Dalal and Dr. Nigat Shaheen Chillo for maliciously maligning the forces and ordered stringent action against the two. The action by J&K government sparked a massive political storm, with the BJP slamming the PDP for instigating the unrest in the valley in 2009.
Well, I call it the extrajudicial termination of services of these two doctors who have been singled out. I mean, if there's anybody culprit, it needs to be the entire system that time. The then Chief Minister Umar Abdullah had constituted Justice Muzaffar Jan Commission, which had said that there was rape and murder. What about action against that commission and its people? And then what about the role of BJP, which actually blessed a very close relative of same advocate Mia Qayyum with a very powerful chair? I mean, if you need accountability, we need to make everybody accountable in the system. And that accountability will start from BJP as to why this government was silent over all this for all these years.
ऐसे लोग जो पाकिस्तान के कहने से इशारे पर काम करते हैं, जिन्होंने डूबी हुई लड़कियों का गलत पोस्टमार्टम बनाया, इनको तो नौकरी से निकाला है, इनको तो समय आने पर फांसी देनी चाहिए। पूरा बवाल पैदा किया और पीडीपी ने जैसे इसके ऊपर सियासत की और हमारे फौजियों को बदनाम करते हैं, शर्म आनी चाहिए महबूबा मुफ्ती और उसकी टीम को। अब तो सो कॉल लीडर जो कश्मीर के हैं, जो पाकिस्तान के इशारे पे नाचते हैं, उनको तौबा कर लेनी चाहिए। मत अपने बेगुनाह लोगों को मारो, मत अपने बेगुनाह लोगों का कत्ल कराओ।
As the government has constituted a judicial inquiry in this case, and after that their judicial inquiry found that these reports are false, and after going through these reports, the government has terminated the services of these two doctors for producing fake reports. As these reports, the reports produced by these doctors, they just want to tarnish the image of Indian security forces who are battling day and night to curb terrorism in Kashmir and serving the country by 24/7. So we welcome the decision of the government.
Well, we have activist Sushil Pandit along with lawyer Ahmad Ayaz joining us on the broadcast. But I want to quickly, gentlemen, first up take it across to my colleague Pradeep Datta, who's with us on the broadcast live. Pradeep, you know, this tragedy goes back to 2009 and we saw 6 weeks of violence non-stop. Given these false allegations that were leveled against our security forces, this was allowed to happen deliberately. Pradeep, help us break down the details that have come to light after the CBI investigation and now the action that's been taken against these two doctors.
Yes, you're absolutely right. The truth that had been buried by both Abdullahs and Muftis for all these years has finally been unearthed, and Jammu and Kashmir government has sent a message loud and clear to ecosystem of terror that if anybody trying to indulge in any such activity will not be spared. You rightly said this case goes back to 2009. It was on 29th of May when two girls, Asiya and Neelofar, they were crossing Rambiya Nala, they got drowned. And when their body was recovered, some people suspected foul play. And taking advantage of the situation, Pakistan and Pak proxies, they wanted to exploit that situation in their favor, and they wanted to sow seeds of suspicion in the minds of the people, and that suspicion was solidified by none other than these two doctors who were instrumental in helping them in achieving their objective of inciting trouble and setting Kashmir in flames, and that's what they did. For 7 months, you rightly said this thing happened. What they did, they falsified the report, they fudged documents, they tampered with the report, they said that these two girls were raped. The reality was that this was a tragic incident of drowning, and they projected them as rape victims who were later murdered by the security forces. They not only tried to demonize our forces, but also malign their image and reputation, and also to sow the seeds of disaffection in the minds of the people. They are the same bravehearts who had been taking bullets all these years on their body to ensure peace and prosperity in that Shopian region where the terrorists used to call shots. But instead of taking action against this lobby, these proxy, what National Conference government did, they constituted Muzaffar Jan Commission. Even the judiciary did not find the truth. They also sided with the proxies. And what really happened that finally the CBI
Why was it buried? Why was Pakistan's involvement not allowed to come to the fore? Those questions have to be answered. Even if this happened 14 years ago, this is not justified. It's not acceptable. Pradeep, thank you for joining us and putting that story in perspective for us. Let me go across to Ahmad Ayaz. Mr. Ayaz, what do you make of this? Why is it that, an attempt was made, a deliberate attempt to ensure that this kind of a disaffection is spread against the Indian Armed Forces? And this is just one such episode wherein the truth stands exposed today. Several such attempts have been made in the past.
See, by saying that these two doctors must have manipulated the report, I think we are raising doubts upon the entire system. It is not the two individual doctors. It's a hospital. It's his system against which we are raising the doubts now. And also, as I remember, the police too also has said that time that this is not a case of drowning. So there are many people getting drowned. We see almost after every third day people drowning here, and there are no doubts raised against them. Why have that time doubts been raised against these two rape cases and killings, called it to be a case of rape and killing, and why the entire area, rather Kashmir, was on protest on these killings? Because there definitely must have been something doubted by the people, by the locals there. That's why. And also, when the doctors confirm, when the institution, it is not the doctor, it is the institution confirming the rape. So if this is confirmed, what is there today to doubt about the rape confirmed by the institution, the medical institution?
Mr. Ayaz are saying, Mr. Ayaz are saying it's justified. In other words, what you're saying, Mr. Ayaz, it's justified that these doctors collaborated with Pakistan to falsify post-mortem reports of the two girls. You're justifying the act today, sir. It's absolutely shocking what you're saying. Mr. Pandit, how would you respond?
It's not shocking. No, it is not shocking.
Listen, this is the level to which Jihad has seeped so deep in the system in Kashmir. Rape has been their favorite allegation against the security forces, to demonize them, to discredit and delegitimize their presence in Kashmir. Even Kunan Poshpura, the DM himself was involved. BG Varghese report brought this out because they have never been given exemplary punishment in time, that these things keep recurring. Why not the lawyers? Why not the husband of one of the women killed? All of them were complicit in manufacturing this evidence. The lady doctor who conducted the post-mortem used her own vaginal swabs. This has been established when the bodies were exhumed. But it dismissed them. It takes centuries to acknowledge that bureaucracy, that judiciary, lower judiciary was involved. It took a high court judge to bail them out, a brave judge. Otherwise, the entire system from top to bottom was complicit in manufacturing evidence, in destroying evidence, in manufacturing grievances, and in giving grist to Jihad in Kashmir. Our problem is Jihad is being handled either by those who are complicit in it or those who are inept idiots. Because they don't see through this and they don't meet out.
And Mr. Pandit, are you also confirmed? Are you also convinced about the political involvement here, the political connivance? Because it is being said today that several officials in the NC government back then were aware of what was going on, and they deliberately let the truth stay buried.
Governments of the day have been complicit in giving grist to these mills, in fanning this disaffection, and then coming like saviors, like knights in shining armor to tell the center that we can rescue Kashmir. Except us, nobody else can. This is how they established their indispensability. But at the same time, they are hand in glove with Jihad in Kashmir in order to make themselves relevant time and again. And Delhi idiots sitting there managing Jihad can't see through this. This
And
has
Mr.
been our
Ayaz
daily-
also, in that sense, by giving a clean sheet, Mr. Ayaz, to the doctors and saying that all processes were followed, due process were followed, in that sense, if we question the doctors, we're questioning the entire system. You're also questioning the CBI's involvement and the investigation that was done by CBI. And remember, it took so long to finally come ahead and take this action against the doctors because this was a larger ecosystem's involvement that made sure that this
is
truth
no
stays
action.
buried.
Just
See,
dismissing
that's
them
what
from the
that's-
services, no action. They have to be jailed.
More
They
needs
have
to be done, all right.
prosecuted.
More needs to be done, but let's see how this unfolds because it's been 14 years and after 14 years, finally, we're seeing this case come to light once again with so much evidence that's going to be spoken of in days to come. Thank you, Mr. Pandit and Mr. Ayaz, for speaking to us here on Times Now. Short break. With that, we return with more news and updates on the other side.